This is Mouth Media Network. Amplify and connect.
30 years ago, Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web. In 2010, astronaut T.J. Creamer posted the first unassisted update to his Twitter account from the International Space Station. And now, you get to hear this trash thanks to the magic of the Internet. #progress. This is Funny People Talking.
Hi, I'm Yanik Silver, founder of Maverick 1000 and the creator of the Cosmic Journal, and I would rather scuba dive in tepid water that is filled with oil and vinegar in a hurricane than listen to funny people talking.
Hi, this is Matt Kazam, CEO of They Laugh You Win and humor scientist, and I'd rather get an enema with a pineapple than listen to funny people talking.
Well, hello, everybody. You never know what kind of beginning we'll have or what accent we'll have. This is not even something that exists on Earth. It's some sort of, Catherine...
Alien.
It's alien, yes. I don't know what I'm doing, Danielle. Do you know what I'm doing?
Did I just turn on the right podcast? I'm trying to find funny people talking.
This is Funny People Talking.
Oh, it is.
Hey, I'm Mark Rako. I'm one of your hosts, and with me, Danielle Beckman.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Boy, we almost fooled you.
I know. I feel like that was the German alien.
I don't know what it was.
Swiss
No, the German alien.
Thought he was having a stroke.
Take me to your leader.
All of the things.
Yeah, I was having a stroke.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Mark. I'm speaking on behalf of the listeners.
Are you? Okay. I don't know if that was warm or wet.
We hope you're still with us.
That's right. Not with us today is our producer, Elsie. Sorry, Elsie's tending to some personal business. We miss you, Elsie, and we'll see you again soon.
# love you, Elsie.
That's right. But there are, in place of Elsie,
yes,
as if you could do that, there are two people. With us is Yanik Silver. He is a successful entrepreneur who's built a network of other entrepreneurs to help them grow their businesses. And also with us is Mr. Matt Kazam. That is a name I need. Is that your real name, Matt?
No, my real name is Ala Kazam, but every time they announce me, shit would appear.
Are you for real?
No. You remember
he's funny people talking.
He's been doing this a long time. He's got something for everything.
Gonna pull the wool over my eyes.
We don't really. We'll find out he's actually a dolphin, but he's been posing as a man because it's a joke. So, all kidding aside, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. So you may ask yourself, well, we have Yanik and we have Matt. Why? And the reason is because last night I got a chance to see a really cool show at Caroline's on Broadway, one of the premier destinations to perform stand-up in the U.S.
Yes.
And it just so happened they had a really cool show called, I believe it's Maverick on Broadway, or Maverick on Broadway?
It was it's an Entrepreneur CEO Stand-Up Challenge.
Okay.
But this time we did, Yanik has a group called Maverick 1000.
Right.
And everyone in the group was Mavericks, so we did
There you go.
Mavericks Take Manhattan.
There you go. Oh, that's
Almost like the
okay,
Muppets.
Almost like the Muppets.
Almost like the Muppets.
We have a Kermit the Frog shirt in the studio.
Ironically, I have more about the Muppets in a second. Strange enough.
That's your guy.
So Yanik performed yet again stand-up comedy as the veteran performer of the group other than Matt. And this was your 13th time?
No, it was almost like a 13-year reunion. I haven't done stand-up in 13 years.
Oh, that's funny because on Saturday I did stand-up for the first time after 6 years. And it was, and for you to not do stand-up in many years, and then go do a 15-minute set at Caroline's on Broadway. I think the thing that I want to say, are you crazy?
Yeah, well, I always knew I wanted to get back into it, and I did a 6-minute set at Improv.
Yeah, that was like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah,
13 years ago, and he had only done it one time, so he did it one time with a 13-year hiatus.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. But then I had a lot of new material.
Yeah,
you did. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you. They were Yanik was part of one of 7 people who performed last night, along with Matt, who emceed, served as MC. So of course, they felt that connective tissue to him being a part of the show also. So that was really cool. Matt's the one who has instructed and coached them to get to this point. It's really quite an accomplishment, Matt, and this, to do a 15-minute set, to do it at a place like Caroline's, and to do it in front of some friendly crowd, but a lot of strangers.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure, and it's quite an accomplishment to build a 15-minute set and then to deliver it, especially because really few or none of the people who performed have been doing the rounds, doing open mics, or practicing the material in front of people. And in fact, your instruction wasn't even in the same place. This was all done virtually, the magic of 21st century technology. And then to come from that virtual world and then show up and perform, my God, incredible. So congratulations to you both. Thank you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what you do. But first, I have a question for Danielle.
What do you need to know, Mark?
I noticed, Yanik has a Kermit the Frog shirt on.
Yeah.
I noticed you came in with a puppet on each arm.
Yeah.
And I've never seen those puppets before, but they're very interesting looking.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about, 1, why you have puppets on your arm, 2, why those puppets, and 3, who are they?
Well, this is Petunia.
Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Petunia.
And this is Elsie. Hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Elsie does have an appearance today.
Yeah, she brought her best friend. Here's the thing.
That's a perfect imitation of our actual producer.
Do I have to give... Okay, this is top secret information, but I'm going to say it live on the air now to everyone. So my fiance loves puppets with all his heart. So there's this whole thing where we're trying.
Is it possible former fiance after he hears that you've talked about this?
No. We have a live stream video studio that we have together in Brooklyn, and we want to create a web series /
with puppets,
short film. Yeah, with puppets. He doesn't know I've been practicing on the side. So, and there might be a Christmas present. Anyway, all this to say, but when is this airing? I'll just have him not listen to this episode.
Exactly.
So I decided to bring my puppets, but these are dang expensive.
Oh, yeah.
The Elsie one was more for all the mad wrinkle lines in her face.
I'm sure she'll love to hear that.
Yeah. Well, her cat's name is none of your business, so she asked for it.
That's right.
She has a purse.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of asking the puppeteer, the seamstress who made my puppets, to make a little cat.
That's cool.
To go, yeah. But she doesn't get it. It's my puppet.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird having her look at me at night, though, so I might.
Do you know what I would love when Elsie's here? For you to bring the Elsie puppet in and we can just do Elsie versus Elsie.
It'll be great. I'll have Elsie puppet. I always have my terrarium, the ghost of my turtle buster. It's going to be great.
You would love Elsie. She is the absolute epitome of deadpan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think she's trying to be funny, but we howl. There's just something about her.
Yeah, she's not trying to be funny.
Yeah. You say she's
Which
so
is,
funny.
I'm sure, the comedy thing.
Exactly.
That's like my dad.
There you go. I love it.
Anyway,
Elsie is like Yanik's dad.
That's right.
I've
maybe
never
not
heard
a Russian
anything.
Immigrant.
Okay.
We'll pass that along. Okay, thank you very much for that. Do you have a nerd tip for us?
I have a quick nerd trivia.
A nerd trivia.
This is the nerd segment.
Nice.
Just
the tip. Nerd tip. That's a slogan.
We have
in post. We add it in post.
Yeah, we have a jingle that we seem to sing live every time. So go ahead.
But I like it. Okay. Just the tip. Nerd tip. Ooh. Mark, this is mainly for you, but are any of you Trekkies in the room?
Sure.
Okay, why not?
It depends which one, though.
We're talking
Next
William
Generation,
Shatner.
original.
Original.
Yeah, sure.
So, the tubes that line the Enterprise hallways in Star Trek, like on the side, they have a label GNDN on all of them. So, like on an example, there's like a close-up on one of them. It was GNDN 435. Those letters are an acronym for something, but they weren't meant to be seen by a television audience. Does anyone know what the GNDN like serial number code on those tubes stands for.
GNDN.
Mm-hmm. This like really got me excited.
Gene,
something with Gene, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Gene something.
Oh,
Gene
that's a
Roddenberry.
good idea. No, that's a good idea, but no.
No.
God? Does it have to do with God?
No. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Goes nowhere, does nothing.
That's good.
I love it.
I love it.
It's funny because most of the things that are pieces of the set of the Enterprise, they're named after the set creator or
yes, exactly.
someone's wife or friend
or the writer.
Exactly. And so it's like goes nowhere, does nothing. 356 is the name of this hallway.
I love that. By the way,
I
I think any nerd listening to this probably already knew that.
I hope so.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Danielle.
Of course.
I don't really want to go nowhere and do nothing, so therefore we have to do what?
Start the show, Mom.
Yeah.
From the Mouth Media Network studios in New York City, and from the same people who brought you Monkey Radio with Mark, this is Funny People Talking with Mark Rako, Danielle Beckman, and Elsie.
All right, it's Funny People Talking, as you well damn know, and
sassy,
we're here
spicy.
with Yanik Silver and Matt Kazam, and more on them in a moment. But first, so Yanik has, as we mentioned, a Kermit the Frog here T-shirt on, and we were just talking puppets, and we were talking Star Trek, and all of this is serendipitous in that yesterday I had a private tour of the Museum of Moving Image in Astoria, New York. Have either one of you ever been there, or do you know of this place? All right. So either if you have time while you're still in New York, or definitely the next time you come to New York, this should be one of your destinations. They have an incredible semi-permanent Jim Henson exhibit.
Oh, nice.
That you must see.
Wow.
It's extensive. It covers everything from the Muppets to his early career to the Dark Crystal to all of his many things.
Sesame Street.
Sesame Street.
And then all his early
Muppets.
commercial work. And
it's all there. Yeah. It's incredible. They have a lot of other stuff too that's really cool, but they also have an extensive collection of Star Trek and Star Wars collectibles that face each other, and it's like this little like a little Roman amphitheater in a way. And it's like all of the Star Trek stuff is in these cases in a semicircle, facing all the Star Wars stuff in a semicircle. And I thought it was really funny because I said to them, this is literally probably the only place in the world in which there is because many science fiction fans in the past have asked if there can ever be a Star Trek versus Star Wars mashup. They're uninformed of the. I will tell you that when I was probably about 8 years old, I wrote a letter to our local NBC affiliate that I still have, and suggested a Star Trek, and it might have been Star Wars, but it might have been Space 1999. I can't remember, but a great idea to bring these two shows together. And they wrote, because at the time this was true, the Star Trek had not been produced since the late 60s. And this was before the first movie came out, and I was so disappointed at that reality that was just not.
What did they say in the letter? No, little boy, your dreams are crushed.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty much, in the nicest of ways.
I mean, that's probably better than what I did, Mark. I love parodies, and as a kid in 5th grade, I got in trouble. I would create these parodies like Cracked in Star Wars, but there were pictures of female anatomy and male anatomy drawn out as the characters, having the dialogue together as whatever.
Oh,
and then I got sent to the principal's office for that and tried to erase it on the way up. So you had a much better way of expressing your fandom, I guess.
I could have never seen that coming.
I didn't see that coming. When I was that age, I wrote to Nabisco because I wanted more Triscuits. Like, I don't know where you guys are.
I'm all about fan fiction, I guess.
I wanted crackers.
Wow.
I thought you were going to suggest that for the nerds out there, the impossibility that, Star Trek and Star Wars
realities and dimensions.
But the fact that they have a talking Bigfoot that can fly a spaceship, that's possible.
Yeah, that's fine. But wait, isn't it franchise copyright stuff though? Like the properties can't come together.
Well, they can if they decide to do a deal. I mean,
for sure.
Disney's going to own it all. So
I mean, Disney owns Star Wars now. I mean, pretty much shows anything's possible. But anyway, so this Museum of Moving Image, I make it a part of your New York adventure if you can. I promise it is a worthwhile afternoon. It's just incredible the stuff that's in there.
Yanik's already changed his flight. I'm telling you that guy. Right, I can see an erection right now. Just
I mean, I have a half chub. Come on, man. Don't oversell it.
The second he said puppets, you had a half chub.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I do love puppets. I don't see anything wrong with it. Puppets
he gets gifted at all of his events. He gets gifted puppets. I mean, he is a puppet. He is a puppet guy.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I like the puppets.
So let's talk about this cool event last night and kind of how the journey to it being. So, Yanik, how did you first come to meet Matt and this specific event, which was not only an opportunity for 7 accomplished entrepreneurs to go through a journey of creating a set and then performing at Caroline's on Broadway, but it was also a chance to be a part of raising money for a nonprofit. What's the name of the nonprofit again?
Beyond the Reef.
Beyond the Reef, which helps to create artificial reefs and teach indigenous children of that area to swim, which helps them appreciate the importance they learn to explore the waters and why it's important for conservation and helping the planet. It's a really noble cause. So how did those things come together? And how did you get involved, Matt, with this? And
I mean, I took one of Matt's classes at the Improv in DC. I just thought that would be a fun thing to do, and as a stand-up comedy class. And I'm like, that just seems like
it was just sort of a lark.
It was a lark, yeah. But I don't really believe in accidents, so that it turned out to be something really special. And I mean, I don't know how many people you had in that class, 40. Whatever it was.
It was much different experience.
35.
I had to put 24 people in the class because it was a class that they paid $300 to get in, and I only got half of it. Mm-hmm. So in order to make money, I had to teach 24 people to do, and they each did 5 minutes. The Oscars is shorter than those graduation shows. And if you went in the second half, you were screwed.
Everyone was checked out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was a fun experience, and they learned something and they got to take a class, but
I still have mine on YouTube or part of it.
I know.
It got a little dirtier, so I didn't put in the whole thing,
but he opened my eyes to what we were talking about earlier, which is at that time, Yanik always had some vision that entrepreneurs were now going to need a new set of skills to take on this new world. Now, the internet had just come on. There was no such thing as Facebook, but I originally taught this at the Smithsonian. I was actually opening up for Michael Bublé, and the Smithsonian came to me just coincidentally and said, we've been getting a lot of requests from our fellows, because it's the Smithsonian, they have fellows. People who didn't want to be comedians, but they wanted to learn the science of humor and public speaking, and would you come teach a class? Now, it's the Smithsonian Institute. It's one thing to teach it at the Chuckle Hut down the street.
Yeah.
It's another thing. Bill Clinton was lecturing across the hall from me at this time.
Wow.
So it was kind of a combination, kind of a combination of abso-freaking-lutely mixed with fun. You're talking to me, right?
Yeah. And they had come. That was the great thing about doing stand-up in D.C. is that, people would come in and the Smithsonian was right up the street. So they had seen me perform, but didn't know if I could teach a class. And I hadn't taught a class. But I knew that I was on to something here. So I told Michael Bublé, and he wasn't Michael Bublé then. He was just some Canadian cool. And I knew he was going to be a huge star, and I loved opening up for him. But I knew that this was going to be my future at some point in my life. So let me go teach at the Smithsonian. Then I had to create the class. And then I literally I can't just create a comedy class. I have to create the greatest comedy class that has ever existed, because I'm not going to be teaching people who want to be comedians. So the people who eventually took my comedy class had kind of predisposition. Like, eventually I ran out of people who had actual talent for this. And then I was teaching just their friends, and then 3 standard deviations away. But I realized
I'm curious where I fit in that.
The lawyers,
well, somewhere
maybe one or two standard deviations away. No, you were one of the early ones, you know. But those people, you know, were the funniest ones. I go, you know, you don't have to be necessarily the funniest guy on earth. You just have to be the funniest one in your group. And then I was getting those people. But then we ran out of those people. So, but the ones who took the Smithsonian class were judges, lawyers, doctors, you know.
Wow.
I mean, these kind of people. But I knew that they
I sentenced you to 5 years. Wacka wacka.
Yeah, but I knew they had an aptitude for learning, and if I actually figured out the science of this, because the one thing I always knew, and you probably know this too, most comedians painfully shy. Most comedians, I mean, if you met Chris Rock,
are messed up.
I met
broken
him
in an amazing way. But
he
if you
ate
met,
soft shell crab with me.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
But he, you know, really shy.
It's true.
Soft shell crabs are delicious.
Well, it was at the restaurant I worked at. Yes, I understand.
So, and I realized I can't even ride in an elevator because my social anxiety is so bad if people are in there. But I did a show at halftime of a Houston Texans game for 70,000 people.
Right.
There you go.
So there was skill set here that I could, you know, build on. And then so I broke down the process and created the 3 rings of stand-up comedy, which are the public speaking ring, performing ring, and the material ring, and then broke out each process of that. And then once I was done, I realized I created a program where I could teach anyone how to do stand-up comedy for at least 5 minutes. After that,
15 over here.
You know, well, now, you know, 13 years later, I realized that there's not much growth, you know, and that I wouldn't be able to, you know, scale it to the level I wanted to at $300 a pop, you know, that I had to turn it in. Then all of a sudden TED Talks came out and I go, you know what? The 12 to 15 minute spot is it's enough where we can learn things like callbacks and we can actually do long form stand up, which is what I learned to get my show in Vegas, where it's one continuous piece of material.
Yeah.
You know, everything leads. So we don't have segues. Well, speaking of, you know, everything leads into the next. And then, you know, the reason they take it, one, to get over their fear, but their engagement level. I coach entrepreneurs for a living now. And they'll listen, but for their own self-preservation, when they know 12 to 15 minutes of stand-up is waiting for them, they listen to every fucking word.
Yes.
And as a teacher, that's the best you can hope for. So I have people with an aptitude for learning, successful people find a way to succeed in real science, and to watch it play out now 70 times I've done this entrepreneur CEO stand-up.
Question for you about an observation from last night. I want to be very clear. I want to make very sure that you can understand and appreciate this is by no means like a criticism.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
a question.
I'll leave fucking right now.
Oh. Bye. No, all kidding aside. Let me start with this. And this isn't to like put the positive, then the negative.
Sure,
I want to give context. It is something just shy of a miracle to take people that you've only been working with virtually.
Yeah.
And then not only put them in front of an audience, performing live for the first time in most cases, and in that environment, lights on you, pressure's on you. They know people paid to be in there, all this sort of stuff. And it's 15 freaking minutes of material, which is very tough to remember. Yeah. And they haven't tried any of this out at improv, you know, at open mics and all this sort of stuff, right? Okay. So there's only so much training you can give them. There's, you know, they could go through this, then you could circle back with part 2 of their training and say, now that you did this, we could polish it this way. Here's what you could have done. Here's how to grow. I understand there's another level. But one of the things that I saw that happened is they had created 15 minutes of material. And it wasn't always that it just got better and better and better and better and better as you went through. It was like there were waves of like, here's a great joke, and then this one didn't quite hit, and a great joke, and then maybe you felt like you expected, as stand-up comedians do, they know to read the room. Mm-hmm. They know it's time to stop. Mm-hmm. This got the big laugh. I'm not doing my last 2 jokes. Mm-hmm. I'm ending on a high. And there were several comedians, and this is, again, not a criticism of either you in the process or them, but there were several instances in which I thought, I was like, you should have ended. That was a huge laugh. That was a huge callback. Yep. And all of a sudden there was still another 3 minutes of material because it felt like, I wrote the jokes. I'm going to tell them. And as an audience member, I felt like they did themselves a disservice.
Absolutely.
So my question is, how do you think about that, being that is such an important part of the stand-up comedy execution, is reading that and knowing when to dive out, or knowing to have your okay, finished my set. It didn't end well. I have a back pocket joke that I know to pull out. That's a surefire laugh that isn't part of my set. But if I have to use it, I'll do it so I end on a high.
But a pro would have that.
Well, this is what I'm asking. So as part of your instruction to them and your shaping in such a limited time, I totally get it.
Yeah.
What was your thinking about that in terms of setting the expectations for them, and was this even a part of what they should know?
No, because none of them are going to do stand-up comedy again. They're going to take this content and put it into their keynotes, put it into their webinars, put it into their Facebooks. So the night of the show, for as much as I'd love for the audience to have a great time, I'm looking to capture as much content as I can and then cut that into little chunks. So nobody's ever going to see the 13, 15
They're
minutes.
They're going to see the big laughs and the big moments.
They're not going to see when they went to their notes, but you know what? They're going to create content that is the most, because you can tell people you cured cancer, but you tell them you're doing stand-up comedy and now they want to know. You know, they're engaged in a level because, you know, humor is such a part of who we are.
Now, if you can only tell people you cured cancer in a stand-up routine.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you what we did. Is for a learning thing. So we do kind of like a Monday morning quarterback recap of the video. So we get together and we watch the video again and we will explain. And what they do is I do tell them, and as Yanik will tell you, I do tell them over the course of teaching that this is probably not going to work and this is where you should end it and you should cut. And I've cut people's grandmothers out of sets. They don't always listen. And it was everything to get them to this point that I have to pick my battles. They pay a lot of money, you know, for the experience. And in my mind, I'm like, you know, the audience is now, if they wanted to be stand-up comedians, absolutely. I would give them savor jokes. I do teach them, you know, when in doubt, be humble, throw yourself under the bus, buy yourself time while they're laughing. You're thinking about the next move. So I'm teaching about all that. But at the end of the day, you know, the value is not what happened in that room that night, but what we captured on film, because, you know, that's what I'm looking for, because with the beauty of editing, I can make them all look like Chris Rock, you know, because there's enough in there. I hope that answered your question.
So I'll give you a quick take on that.
Answer. Thank you.
So just a quick take on that is, I even, like, this morning, I was talking to my cousin Sophia, who works with me, and she was at the show, and she's like, you should have ended on, you know, on this spot, right? Like at the end of it. I'm like, yeah, that probably could have been good. And I talked to you about this morning too. You're like, yeah, maybe. And but you wanted to add that part because you wanted to do this piece. I'm like, right, And then so I'm gonna do it again. And I also know that I can chunk it in different spots, like as Matt said, in different speeches or presentations or literally conversations with people, right? So I can add that little thing, and then I know that is the winner, and that works really well. And I can be like, that's where I'm ending.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that Monday morning quarterback instruction. No, I'm just, I know what I'm saying, but I mean, like, you know, those moments where you're able to like look at the video of your performance and just go, why did I keep going? Like you can see it in retrospect.
And we've talked about that ahead of time, where I'm like, I'd much rather do, as you know from doing stand-up, I'd much rather do a tight 12 than a long 15.
Right, of course.
You know, but at the end, he's paying homage to his wife. I know it's not going to work, but I'm not cutting a beautiful moment where he's paying tribute to his wife out of his set.
This is an interesting point you make, and we don't often think about this. You know, arguably, stand-up can be art.
Absolutely.
And we assume I'm supposed to make the audience laugh, and that's the gig.
Yeah.
But it's also art. So if this is your way of paying homage to your wife or telling a story, whether every moment's a big laugh or not, that's your approach. Yeah. Right, wrong, great, not, to your approach of doing that. And hopefully most of it connects.
But it's got to also be connected to the audience laughing, because otherwise it's like, you know, doing it just for yourself.
That's a decision.
So when I gave you my first version of this,
oh sweet Jesus,
because I had a message I wanted to put out about this great cosmic joke that we live in, and it started with, you know, how the universe was created and the galaxies formed and merged together, and then bacteria came here and they like, it was like this whole setup of this, and you're like,
27 pages, by the way, of this. manifesto.
Props for prep.
Yeah, but the thing about that is that it could be funny and it could be like it could be a 5-second joke because you press it down. But the reason that when you say it right now, it doesn't make me sit up in my seat is because it's not about you. I want to hear about your experience. And so if that's a thing that interests you in the storytelling of you, because the more specific, and we've said this on the show a lot, the more specific, the more universal.
This is a very good point because, and I mean this more to illustrate Daniel's point, not that it needs illustration, but is all the stuff that you talked about in your set, and this is going to be meaningless for our listeners, but we're talking about mushrooms and trees and stuff like that. Fascinating. But I thought that it lacked... I'm not dissecting your stuff.
No,
I thought it lacked me understanding that was important to you. Like that was a reflection of the larger Yanik that we should all know exists. Like, I'm fascinated with this and this and this and this, and this is how I run my life. Oh, and then here's this interesting factoid that has context. It sort of was like out of the blue. And it took a while to sort of catch up with you. So it's interesting
context
because if I knew it was an extension of you,
right,
I would have understood what Daniel was talking about. It was still funny.
And now refining for your next set.
But my point is, it was still funny to me. But it would have been funny in a different way if it felt personal.
Yeah, and like the fact, I understand now more hearing you talk about why they did 15 minutes because I did stand up for a full year in New York and then I just started booking people constantly. Yeah. I love producing stand up more. I love acting with people giving me words and me writing my own words. I can't do stand up anymore. Yeah. But all that to say, by the time I was done after a year, I had a solid like 5-6 minutes. That's it. Like solid. And then I was like, I'm done. We're good. So hearing that they did 15, I was like, oh my gosh. But now I understand the process that you were doing and what makes it unique and what can grow from it, like the keynotes and the so
and then learning the process, they now have the skill set. And this is another thing we do is I show them where they made real comic choices that are way above their pay grade. Yeah. Where they were controlling the moments, not letting the moments control them.
Yeah.
You can't experience that over a 5-minute set,
So let's talk about that a little bit. You're no slouch, my man. You've been around the block as a comedian. You've performed, had your own show in Vegas, yes? And you've been doing it for years. And
he said it already.
I know.
A long time.
He said it off mic before we started.
Oh, just kidding. Okay, bye.
No, I mean, I came out of the womb being able to make people laugh, I mean, my father was an insane. Both my brothers are lawyers. My sister's a teacher. I do this. My father was this insane comedy fan. Used to pay 2,000-year-old man records for me when I was in the womb. And when other kids were out playing baseball, I was home listening to Red Fox and and I knew I wanted to be a comedian my whole life,
Wow.
And, at 6 years old, I'm getting paid to do it. I was working at mafia social clubs in the Bronx. Other kids were running numbers, bagmen. I would sweep up there, make the mobsters laugh. They give me $1 here, $quarter there.
Wow.
Then I'm doing parties. 10 years old, my parents take me to Vegas. See my first show ever, Joan Rivers and Shecky Green at the Riviera. Knew right then that that's what I wanted to do with my life. 35 years later, I got my own show in the same room that I saw the show when I was 10. You want to talk about the chicken? That's why we
I got some goosebumps for that, Matt. That's good.
2 years later, they blow up the casino. But that's the part of the story you got to block out.
But you got in there.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about you sweeping up as a 6-year-old and just like for your first dead body. Am I right?
Oh my God.
It was a good gig until they firebombed the social club. It was a true story.
Were you there?
They exploded the casino. They firebombed the social club.
I know. It's something, and it's so funny when they blew up the casino because comedians are just pricks, and they were all sending me messages. They go, "Listen, I've been fired before, but they never blew the some bitch up." But I forgot about that. It happened again. So
I've
been doing it a long time.
So how did you transition from being a comedian, deciding that's what you wanted to do, writing your material, performing, and that's starting to catch fire, to then starting to investigate and begin to actually understand the science behind how humor both rises up and also connects with our neurology and the way and how you can strategically harness that. Both in the design of jokes as well as how you can impact business or behavior. Yeah. How did that start to happen?
So when they blew up my casino, they didn't actually blow it up to build another casino. They blew it up to build more convention space. So I started to hit me that, Vegas wasn't even Vegas anymore. People come there for work. They're coming for these entrepreneurial, conferences.
And
they're coming
shows.
in for trade shows, and they're coming for all these things. And then I also, you hear all the stats where they say people have no attention span anymore. And it literally is engage or die. Okay, so what engages people more than anything else? Humor.
Of course.
As comedians, we don't think about it, but we think. I've gotten out of 21 speeding tickets in my life using the science that I teach them. Because you know what? The officer might not let me go, but if I can connect with Jim, but what if you took that same skill set and applied it to sales or applied it to speaking? Humor, and I didn't know this at first, but I understood that yes, the outcomes were all there, but why does it happen? Because you know what? We're at our best as humans. Funny people talking. We're at our best as humans when we're making each other laugh. And then I go, you know what? Let me try to figure out the physiological, the neuroscience, how we're programmed as people. And you know what? It gains people's trust. It makes everything that entrepreneurs are trying to be more authentic, more genuine. People only remember 10 to 20% of anything they hear over the course of the day. You embed that message with humor, it goes up to 50 or 60%. So I'm starting to learn all these things where I go, I'm wasting my time just, telling jokes in a comedy club. I could actually this is how to win friends and influence people. This is Dale Carnegie shit. This is stuff, 100 years. I can get a sitcom. Nobody will know who I am in a year.
Right.
100 years people could be talking about me because I actually figured out how to crack the code in a world where no one knows how to crack the code. I mean, how do you break out and stand out? So, I got into that. And then because Yanik took my class, we stayed in touch. And he thrown me different gigs here. I've written 2 roasts of Richard Branson that he went and delivered. So I realized that I could write the material and they could deliver it, but
That's
then at
great.
the end of the day, you have to be happy and it has to be rewarding to me. And while I was sitting there, because I've done 6,500 shows, over the course of my life, there's not much more stand-up's going to do for me personally, to feed me, but I get more joy out of writing something for them and watching them get a laugh. And I was just a smile on my face and every day. So, but it was getting in there and learning that, our conscious minds are under full assault these days. You guys have a podcast, like Melinda said, her mailman has a podcast. Everybody's delivering information. We can't listen if we shut down when you go. But humor breaks through the conscious into the subconscious, where every long-term memory, every feeling, every belief, everything lives there.
Perfect sense.
So what a commodity. And now, because I've spent the last 3 years, it's a real commodity in business that people want. I mean, there was not even a category humor training. I had to steal it from other places. Yeah. Now people are budgeting humor training money because it improves the customer experience. It helps the salespeople. Millennials don't, and then you realize that this is also a public speaking gig. And, in 2 years from now, email's not going to exist. Our email's not going to be video. So entrepreneurs need this skill set. And like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Yanik. He's been a true advocate for what I do and at the highest level, I mean, when you talk about Richard Branson and then I start picking up some, and there's been a lot of comedians, and this too. They couldn't get any laughs in a comedy club, but they were kind of had a business background. So they ran to the business world and they're going to teach you how humor can take away stress and this and that. But they're doing it I go C-suite. Only way my science is going to work and companies are going to embrace this is if I go right at the top, because some middle level manager, it's too easy for them to say no. So I go, but it's very easy for them to say no because, if it wasn't real and they didn't see ROI, they wouldn't invest in it. So, I've been really strategic, and 2018 was about proof of concept, and 2019 was about, taking it to the next level, and 2020 is going to be about scaling it. So
it's a community.
Yeah, it's a community. Hey, you better. Who gets to go daddy first?
You can have that.
I mean, a commodity though implies that it's like an onion, and an onion is worth as much as this other onion, and you're really providing a much bigger value than that. And sometimes you're so gifted you don't even realize the gifts you have. I know sometimes you do because you're not as modest about that. You're like, I can do this shit. But you really do have the gift, and that's from the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing that he's really coined. But I always feel like there's these amazing like things that we saw originally as kids that you can be like, oh, that's why I was attracted to this, and all these things coming together. And to me, it's actually symbolic that it was blown up twice. Yeah, because it means that you're able to now take it to a different spot, and it's not a commodity. It's really something totally unique that you're able to pull together. Yeah, and I don't even know you and I connected 13 years ago, obviously, and stayed in touch, but I don't even know why. I was like, hey, Matt, will you help me, write this thing? And you continue to support me and help me there too. So it just really worked out.
And as you grew, I grew, he used to put on these, and Yanik has an amazing programs. He takes groups of people to Necker Island and, and they get to hang out with Richard Branson there. And, but when we first started, he was doing these seminars that was, a certain level of entrepreneur. And so we've kind of grown together but you,
yeah, but you helped me write some of the opening sequences for that. And, if I could add a little bit of humor and comedy to an opening of a seminar or an event, it just goes a huge way. And then, as you're talking about, like, so we always do a Q&A with Richard on our trips. And so I want to add, he has a great sense of humor. We have fun together. I mean, we did a Q&A in Mermaid Tales once, because it's all about like ocean conservation. And so we brought out Mermaid Tales to him and one to me. And he gets it on, and so we both get in there, sit in the Mermaid Tales, and he's like, come on, he's like, get the top off too, we're going all the way. And I'm like, fine. And so we're doing our very serious Q&A in Mermaid Tales, and we've worked in lemur suits before, and
everyone will remember that. Think about this. Think about if you think back to your schooling.
You need to see a photo of it.
I know.
If you think back to your schooling, who are the teachers that you remember? It isn't the smartest teacher.
No.
It isn't the one that gave you the best grade or the strictest. It's the funny teacher.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you think about the best dates you ever had in your life, I'll bet you we laughed or whatever, right? I mean, maybe you did something cool or whatever, or there was something sweet that happened, but usually it's like, oh, I laughed and that connected. And, if you think about weddings you've been to, oh my God, the preacher or the officiant was so funny, or with the best man speech or whatever, you don't remember, gosh, that was a really solemn and proper best man speech. That thing's got to be funny, right? Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point being that neurology aside, I think it seems so clear that you're both really recognizing that this is, whether it's a commodity or not, it's absolutely foolish, in my opinion, for any seasoned entrepreneur to be ignorant of this tool.
Yeah.
It really would be irresponsible.
It's like I say, in a case of a tie, the funnier person is going to win. And that's a weird thing because, in society, the better looking person might win or this or that. But on a human level, it's what we're drawn to because it checks so many, boxes in the human behavior that, so when I say entrepreneurs, they're already spending more to accomplish less.
Yeah. You know what makes me think of, I swear to God, this is so weird. It makes me think of American Idol contestants, Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard. Now, Ruben won.
Yeah.
They're both incredible singers. But Clay was more colorful, more interesting. And would like him or not the point. Funny, entertaining, wild, and guess who we remember more and ultimately who's had a bigger career and has got a lot more screen time. It's been the runner-up.
Yeah, he was the runner-up. Yeah,
and
I saw him on Broadway.
There you go. So, and my point to me, I'll just circle back to Clay Aiken, Ruben Studdard all the way. No, but I mean, to me, it's you'll remember the runner up.
Well, I think where people get in trouble about this is that they all, they've watched comedies. They're like, I think I know it's funny, so I can be funny.
No, that's not true.
It's like I was listening to a friend of mine last night telling us about a terrible best man speech. He said that the ones they remember are the funny ones. It was a terrible one where they thought they were roasting the groom, but it was really just like mean stuff.
Ooh, no.
Right?
Ooh.
And so they don't know what is funny. They think they know. And just like marketing, when I used to teach marketing, everyone has an opinion on what's good advertising or marketing, but they don't know the science of it truly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because the first thing I teach my entrepreneur clients is that what you think is funny doesn't matter to me.
No.
It's because to me now, after this many years and doing this, it's just math to me. What are the variables? How do I assess them? How do I make the best choices? How do I find one word to do the job of 20? All these things go into it. And it's what I know about this audience that I can make the right choice to make them laugh. Because what I'm trying to do is engage them. So if you think, but I wouldn't teach that to a stand-up comedy student. I would go, screw it. It's art to you. Do what you're going to do.
That makes sense.
You will build an audience. You will find an audience that way.
They'll find you. Yeah. Right.
But
learn it, I'll explain it later.
But in this, let's figure out, about if it's a group of realtors, and we know that, and I teach them. I created a concept called crowd fusing, which is something that allows you to take control of an audience. So I never perform for 300 people. I perform for one being of energy. So there's things that you can do. And then I teach them all fuse, where they walk up on stage. It's kind of like when they did the callbacks to other people's sets, and why those things got such big laughs, because it's a situational fuse. The audience, you're creating something special in front of them, and and they do their responses.
I'm privileged to see this unique, version.
Because it'll never happen again.
I mean, the callback to Kevin just killed when I was in the meditation video,
which is when you should have ended, as they said. But if you were a comic, you would have known that. Because you would have but there somebody's paying you to be funny, and here they. But it's funny, when the first time I went on stage, 30 some odd years ago, I called up the club at the open mic, and I said, "How much time can we do?" And the guy goes, "You can do 10." I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't even have 3."
Right.
So I practiced 10. Finally, the show ran long. Before I go on stage, he goes, "Hey, you can only do 5 now." I go, "I don't know how to do 5. I've been practicing 10. So I just barreled through, and like he's ended up flaming arrows. He's lighting me. And I did my whole 10 minutes, and because I didn't know how to do 5. So in a lot of ways, they only know how to do this 15 and 12. And like I said, ending on a big laugh.
Of course.
Because that content at the end where he's talking about his wife, if nothing else, it gets him laid more at home. I'm cool with that,
Especially for this.
Wasn't that the end?
Is that the end game for anybody? Just get laid more. That's it.
All right, let's break for a moment. When we're back, a quick tip of the hat to Tina Fey and an improv game right after this.
Woo-hoo.
Connect with the show at Mouth Media Network or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. And please, for the love of all that is holy, subscribe to the show and leave us a damn review and a really, really good rating on iTunes. Pretty please? Thank you.
Before we play our improv game, a quick bit of housekeeping. On this show, we have our appeal to Tina Fey, in which we pray to the comedy gods in the hopes that someday she will come on, drive by, send us a postcard, give us a call, anything.
Go to the spa.
If we put the energy out to the universe, you never know who will connect with the spa exactly.
Comedy's fun.
And that's all we ask. So please feel free to join us if the spirit moves you. If not, Danielle and I will handle it. But we're going to just do a quick prayer.
5, 6, 7, Tina Fey.
Tina Fey, please.
Tina.
We love you, Tina Fey.
Tina.
We will do anything,
Tina.
literally anything, to have you on the show.
Tina.
Comedy gods, please. We love you. Come on the show. Amen.
I have her number.
That was disturbing.
That's like, I can just text her right now if you really want.
really
I just want to say, I love you so much.
Oh, yeah.
All right, before we conclude, it's a tradition on the show. We love to play an improv game with our guest. The improv game that's come to me as I channel into the spirits here is one of our favorite games on the show, which is called What If?
Yes.
And the idea is that you are pitching something. It can be a TV series, it can be an ad campaign, it can be a movie idea, it can be whatever you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And it's two people pitching together, or it can be, you can be pitching together, or you could be pitching the other person. And as you know, ideas are always just a little better with some input. Mm-hmm. So the idea would be that, like, I could say, what if this happened? And you go, my gosh, there's a piece of that I like, but I know how I can make it better. What if we kept part of it, but we did this that made it different? You say, well, I love what you did with that, and we definitely should keep that part. But what if we did this, and what you end up with in the end is nothing like what you started with? So Danielle and I will demonstrate.
Okay.
And then I will invite the two of you to play with each other. Yeah. And if that's okay.
I was just about to say,
are you 10 minutes to stop. Are you willing to give this a shot?
Absolutely.
Sure. All right. So what we'd love from you is a suggestion of the kind of pitch that we are making, whatever that may be.
Well, we're entrepreneurs. Why not a Shark Tank pitch?
A Shark Tank pitch. Great. And give us a word that we need to work in as part of the pitch.
Or it's suggestion.
Puppetry.
Fantastic.
Hi, welcome to my office.
All right, thank you so much, Danielle, for the opportunity.
You're here on Shark Tank. Look up.
I'm looking up.
Thank you.
I promise.
Very good.
I have one word for you.
Okay.
Puppetry.
I've heard of it.
We are so off to a good start. Puppetry is the future of business, and I would like to propose that we put on a puppetry show built for executives so they can imagine what their businesses will look like through an advanced puppet show. And they will be able to actually imagine their business in motion, where all of their future strategic partners and employees are all puppets. And I call this Puppet Universe. It's not a very imaginative name, but I'm sure this is what I came with.
It's very much not an imaginative name, but it's okay. What if it takes place on a desert island? Like we work The Bachelor into it.
Interesting. So
Bachelor puppets, Bachelor entrepreneur puppets. What do you think?
I love this idea because I think it really gets a chance for puppets to meet other puppets and choose who they want to be a puppet with.
Yeah. So what if there's sand and a beach?
Okay, I love this idea. So it's a beach. It's the Bachelor theme for puppetry and business. There's just one thing. I feel like
it's perfect. What?
It should be animals. Animals involved for sure, because puppets and animals, I think, are things that go together really, really well. So I think what we call it, and what I love is animals represent the unexpected and unpredictable aspects of the entrepreneurial journey. So you have a perfect puppet show happening. In walks a woodchuck.
Yep.
Anything can happen.
Okay. Right. And it's metaphorical of the shit you can go through because the animals are pooping everywhere.
No question.
Right? So what if the at the end, we have this this entrepreneur, this empowerment, all this. I'm thinking, what if it's hosted by, say,
already love it.
Nicole Kidman? Sorry, that's an inside joke. I think it's good.
Not only do I love that, especially because she's a little unpredictable.
Is she? I don't know. Okay.
It's predictable she'll be in something. Yes. You just don't know what she'll be in. It's predictable
she looks like she's very young. It's scary.
I love it.
Okay.
But what if, in addition to Nicole Kidman, we found a way to bring Richard Simmons back out from obscurity?
Oh, I thought you were going to say back from the dead. He's alive.
No, he's alive.
Right.
From hidden obscurity.
Well, keep him obscure. Yep.
No, he can be obscure, but he should be present.
Great.
And the reason I say this is I think this reintroduces the unexpected component. So I think
I'm sold.
We're really no puppets anymore. It's really just Nicole Kidman, Richard Simmons, and some animals.
Good. And what if it's the dead of winter? I think we're done.
Okay.
Perfect.
Done. I think the new name is The dead of winter.
Yeah, winter is coming.
Winter is coming. All right, so
wow,
okay,
we're done.
That's it. So
we're usually long-winded.
So
Richard Gere, his name has not been mentioned.
Oh, Richard Simmons.
Oh, was Richard Simmons?
Yeah.
No, I was saying
this
Richard
is your
Simmons.
fantasy.
Yeah,
But
no,
Richard Gere, hey.
I think it's the woodchuck that threw you.
Oh, I think there you go.
I do have a puppet infomercial pitch I need to give you as a puppet fan. That's
fun.
a later on.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother show right there.
yeah.
I love that
God.
idea.
Okay.
All right, so why don't you give them a
because we both kind of pitch. Oh, a type of pitch?
Sure.
I can't think of anything right now. I'm thinking like I don't know, like a science project at a school. Like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. Help me.
Okay. Well, how about this? How about an advertising campaign pitch?
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay,
It's
an
the same as a
advertising
science
campaign.
About a science
And
project.
the word is
Wait, so advertising
Science
campaign.
project.
Okay, so the word is science project that you
Great.
need to work in somehow.
Okay.
And it's an advertising pitch. And one of you is pitching the other.
Yeah.
So
Well, since it's science, I think you're the pitcher.
Take-
Oh, I thought you were the scientist, the humor scientist.
Well,
Take it
yeah,
away.
but you were all the microbacteria, so which will make sense later on. And you're pitching me the teacher,
Okay.
I guess, or the ad. I'm the ad.
You're the yeah.
the ad guy.
All right. So imagine this: we have a campaign. Okay, there are science experiments that are going on for kids every single day of the week. Monday, they have to do an ocean experiment. Tuesday, water. Wednesday, something with animals. Thursday, Friday, you get it. Another one is ants. It keeps going. It keeps going. And what's happening is that this ad campaign is the result of these experiments. Some are good, some are bad. And then people are engaged on social media. Hashtag science experiment.
ooh.
I love it. I love it as a campaign. I think it's engaging. It involves kids. But what if it wasn't kids and they were porn stars? Because, literally, porn stars would be more interesting than kids. And, they're basically walking petri dishes. So we could just basically scrape something off of them, put it in the petri dish, see what grew, and, we could go on from there.
So it would be everything that grows Monday, everything that grows Tuesday, Wednesday, and they see what happens with that science experiment.
But what if it was not every day? We did it every month. Because then the transformation, you'd come back and there would really be something growing. On a daily basis, it would, but the reveal of what would be there on a monthly basis could be even more interesting. And what if it wasn't porn stars, but it was aliens?
Now you have me intrigued.
Now I thought, yes, right. Now we really got something. And what if it wasn't science experiments, but it was aliens doing porno? How about that?
So what if it was just...
I don't know how you didn't decide that's the campaign. So go ahead. Go ahead. But I'm just like, I'm sold.
Because they'd have 9 penises, it'd be efficient.
Yeah, well, right. That's good. Well, what... I think you're right. That's the campaign.
That's it.
I didn't mean to show you off. I was just like, and scene.
Yeah.
Very good, guys. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Oh, my
That was
pleasure.
fun. We love playing this game. You never know what's going to come out of it. I feel just terrible shutting this conversation down because I feel like there's another 12 dimensions we could talk about, but and 2 very funny guys. Matt, how can people follow the things that you're doing and connect with you if they want to learn more about how they can get involved?
They can go to theylaughyouwin.com and stand-up challenges on there, the coaching programs, the corporate training.
Or community.com.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And we'll be at Caroline's again on January 13th. So if you're in New York City, hopefully you'll come back out. I have a new group, and they basically every 2 months I run a new program.
It's like a science experiment. You see which one's what grows.
And I think Yanik is coming back because he's and I always like to bring back one alumni and they start off the show because nobody ever really wants to follow me. So it's almost like they follow each other and I don't throw a newbie like that. So theylaughyouwin.com and also I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. I just got on Instagram because the kids, the kids told me it was great. So.
By the way, quickly, how did you get Caroline's roped in on this? And the reason I'm asking the question is, in particular, was I understand they could sell tickets. I understand that people will buy their 2-drink minimum and their food and all that sort of stuff. But and their coat check. But like last night, for example, ticket sales being donated.
Yeah.
And with the people in the audience, the people on stage not necessarily being, quote, named comedians, the place was not as full as it might be for a regular show.
Yep.
How does Caroline's justify this as a business model?
I pay him $6,000.
Oh, is that what it is? You basically buy the place
Also, it's a Monday night.
Like, I rent the room.
That's the answer. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's what I want.
And it's a Monday night, too.
Yeah, but still.
No. It's like a corporate event in terms of that.
So that makes sense.
That's the answer. Okay, great. Thanks. All right, and Yanik?
Yeah, so if people are high-level entrepreneurs, they can get a hold of me at maverick1000.com. They can check out my blog at yaniksilver.com, YANIK. And I actually just came out with something called the Cosmic Journal. It's coming out very soon.
Come on.
I call it your galactic instruction manual that you were missing when you were born to fulfill your destiny here. And it's all my own drawings, pictures, some of the interesting stuff about the universe and about yourself. And that's at cosmicjournal.com.
Such a pleasure to have you guys here. You're both such funny, accomplished guys, inspiring guys, and really appreciate it. And I love the fact that you couldn't be more different, and yet what connects you is humor.
Yeah.
And an entrepreneurial spirit, obviously. So
and the lack of height that they can't see at home.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Vertically challenged is my preferred term.
People,
more grounded.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, better sense of.
And tall people don't live as long, so we're going to be around forever. So
there you go.
Good, yeah.
But it's great when you're not around, you'll be closer to the ground. It'll be an easier trip. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Listen, all kidding aside, congratulations to both of you on a great night last night and completing the journey for you, Yanik. And,
it was fun.
And I wish you both well. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Until next time, thanks so much for listening, everybody. We really do appreciate it. Love to you, Elsie. And until we see you again, for Ms. Danielle Beckman.
What a treat.
What a treat. I'm Mark Rako. You're the treat, Danielle.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. And hey, stay fun.
That's it? That's the end of the show? Boy, oh boy, what a crock. This was Funny People Talking.
Copyright 2019. No portion of the content may be reproduced or published without the strict written permission of the producers. Connect with our show at Mouth Media Network or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. I'm your announcer, Peter Coleman. Thanks for listening.
This is Mouth Media Network. Amplify and connect.